11 real-life giants. Number 11. Romário dos Santos Alves. The 25-year-old Brazilian amateur bodybuilder was facing a number of health problems after he became hooked on using an injection known as synthol that enhances the size of the muscles to almost Hulk-like proportions. The ingredients in synthol happen to be a potentially fatal cocktail of alcohol and lidocaine mixed with oil. The concoction ended up hardening his muscles to the point where the needles wouldn't pierce his skin anymore. Alves was quoted saying he enjoyed the attention of children who admired his size and compared him to the Hulk, who was the inspiration that led Alves to this drastic transformation. Doctors almost had to amputate both his arms, and he has since stopped taking the synthol injections. Number 10. Arlindo de Suosa. Another case of a Brazilian bodybuilder who wants to have the biggest muscle gains is Arlindo de Suosa. Just as Romário, he became addicted to injecting himself with synthol and trying to cut corners with how fast he could get even bigger biceps. The circumference of his bicep muscles was measured at being 29 inches due to the filler causing his muscles to swell so massively. He stated that he lost a friend to the same method that he was using, but has since managed to stop taking the synthol. Number 9. Denis Cylenkov. The 32-year-old is a Ukrainian-born bodybuilder who also happens to be an arm wrestling champion, along with having the largest and most firm muscled hands in the entire world. Denis's gargantuan size is frequently compared to that of the Incredible Hulk. He first began to train his body by using kettlebells, and as his strength grew, he recognized his potential and began to compete in arm wrestling competitions. He stands at 6 feet and 1 inch tall and weighs around 380 pounds. His wrists measure out to be an unusual 9.5 inches thick, with biceps that are measured out to an incredible 25 inches in circumference. In both 2010 and 2011, he won the largest international arm wrestling tournament, known as the Naismith. Number 8. Hafthor Julius Bjornsson. Game of Thrones fans might know this next guy as the current actor who has portrayed the Mountain on the show's 4th, 5th, and 6th season. Hafthor stands at a whopping 6'9" and weighs almost 400 pounds. Born in Iceland, the 27-year-old wasn't always an actor. He was actually a basketball player, as most guys who are that tall tend to gravitate to as a profession, but he suffered a severe knee injury that cut his basketball career short when he was just 20 years old. He ended up training and eventually became a strongman who started competing and placing in various competitions. He's incredibly strong enough to be able to deadlift 990 pounds. Number 7. Shaquille O'Neal. One of the most famous basketball players ever to be present in the NBA is none other than Shaquille Rashawn O'Neal, even more famously nicknamed Shaq. Born on March 6, 1972, he would later grow up to be 7'1" and weigh a vast amount of 325 pounds. This natural advantage and impressive skills on the court would lead Shaq to have one of the greatest careers any basketball player could hope to achieve. With a huge amount of accolades under his belt, he finally announced his retirement in 2011 and would later be inducted into the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame. Number 6. André the Giant. Real name, André Roussimoff. He was born in France under Bulgarian and Polish ancestry at a very early age, 12 to be exact. The symptoms of André's gigantism were present as he stood at a towering height of 6'3" and weighed 240 pounds. He would later move to Paris and learn how to wrestle professionally by a local promoter who saw the potential that came with his enormous size of 7'4". He ended up becoming one of the most recognizable faces in the wrestling world and would later take on an acting career, most famous for his role as Fezzik in The Princess Bride. Sadly, he passed away in his sleep in 1993 due to congestive heart failure. Number 5. Yao Ming. Born on September 12, 1980, Yao Ming would also become a very famous basketball player in not one, but 2 professional basketball leagues, the NBA and the CBA. His unbelievable height of 7'6" made him the tallest active basketball player back in his last season of playing. He made the switch from the Chinese Basketball Association to the NBA in 2002 and would go on to play for the Houston Rockets. It was in 2011 that he announced his retirement from the league due to a string of foot and ankle-related injuries that caused him to miss a total of 250 games in the last 6 seasons of his career. In 2014, he was inducted into the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame. Number 4. Vikas Upal. There is very little information as to regarding Vikas Upal's short life, though his claim as the tallest man is considered to be a contentious one. Upal was born in the Rohtak district of Haryana back in 1986. Based on the speculation of the Indian newspaper The Tribune, they reported that he stood at around 8 feet and 3 inches when he was measured as a teenager. However, another news and entertainment website in India called Rediff.com stated that he was 8 feet and 10 inches back in 2005, which would have made him the second tallest man in history. Though most people generally accept that his height was 8 feet and 3 inches, Upal sadly died on June 3rd, 2007, while under the knife, as doctors were trying to remove a tumor in his brain. Number 3. Sajad Gareby. The 24-year-old Iranian strongman weighs in at an impressive 24 stones, which is 336 pounds, and is able to lift an incredible 386 pounds. That's his own body weight with an additional 50 pounds. Sajad became an internet sensation when he began to gain attention for his large physique on several of his social media accounts. Since then, he's racked up roughly 59,000 followers on his Instagram account, where people have dubbed him the real-life Hulk because of his somewhat uncanny resemblance to the popular character. Number 2. Brahim Takiola. This man happens to be tied with the Iranian man Morteza Merzad as the second tallest person in the world who is currently alive. However, he has the title of the world's largest feet on a living person to himself, with his feet measuring out a length of over 15 inches, and he has to wear special shoes that are custom made in order to support all of his weight. Brahim was born in Morocco back in 1982, where his size is directly linked to a tumor that affects his pituitary gland, like most people who were born abnormally tall. Basically, the tumor causes the body to have increased levels of growth hormone. Doctors first noticed his unusually large size when he was 18 and recommended that he get a blood test to see if the results would yield any answers. Like with most people who are this tall, he suffers from day-to-day problems that cause the quality of his life to not be as ideal.
And now for number 1. But first, be sure to subscribe for new videos every day.
Number 1. Sultan Kozen. Standing at a staggering height of 8 feet and 3 inches, the part-time farm laborer from Turkey holds the current title for the tallest living man in the world. Kozen's enormous stature is due to a tumor that affects his pituitary gland, like many other of the world's tallest people, and has been linked to the disorder acromegaly. It wasn't until he was 10 years old that he would grow past 6 feet, and from then on had to use crutches to walk. Because of this, he was unable to finish his education. In 2008, there was an attempt to remove the tumor in his brain, but it failed because of how deep the tumor was. It wasn't until 2012 that he had a procedure that finally stopped his accelerated growth. He married his wife back in 2013, and their height difference isn't much of a problem. It's the fact that they don't speak the same languages. She speaks Arabic, and he speaks Turkish and Kurdish. Sultan recently joined the Magic Circus of Samoa after the director personally asked him to. Now, here's what's next. Click here to watch 13 life mysteries science can't explain on my channel, Weird Science, and leave a comment saying Titanic sent you.